What up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Gen Podcast. This is episode 130. Now, if you're new here, I really appreciate you. If you've been here since the beginning, my day ones, I appreciate you even more. Before we get started, do me a huge favor. Make sure you're subscribed just because some of the people watching right now aren't subscribed. And if you're listening on any podcast platform, go ahead and rate this as well. I really appreciate it. So this podcast is going to be about the uncomfortable truth of why you're not where you want to be. So think of this episode as self-accountability and growth. And I'll be the first to tell you, going over these notes, this episode is probably going to sting a bit, just because being comfortable can mess up your whole fucking life. Now, for me, my life has been a fucking journey. So I've been in certain situations where I've gone years without progressing. I've gone years without getting better in certain situations. I'll give you a perfect example to start off this podcast. For the first, I want to say 5 years, I started going to the gym in 2015, but for the first 5 years, I was literally just going through the motion. I wasn't really in tune with the actual industry like I wanted to be, and I wasn't really in tune of what was actually my point of going to the gym. Up until I want to say 2020, 2021, I started to lift heavy. And when I mean heavy, I mean very heavy. Heavy as in I'm lifting 90% of what I can actually lift, and I'm doing 5 for 5 sets. So, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Today was chest day, and I lifted, I want to say, incline bench. Started off with just a warm-up set, and then my next 4 sets were actually heavy sets. And that went on to, damn, I'm drawing a blank on what this actually is. I want to say 185, and then I went 195, 205, and then I ended with 225. So that's 2 plates on each side, incline bench, which is, in my opinion, it's pretty fucking heavy. Usually incline bench, you want to go semi-decently light just because it's at a distance. I mean, it's at an incline, so it's different from actually regular bench. But anyways, I say this to say, for the longest time, I was super uncomfortable with my growth in the gym. And then I get to a point where I just dialed in, focused on what I truly wanted. And from there, it's been a fucking joy working out. So if you've been in certain situations where you've had different years, or if you had one specific year where you wanted to do something, or you just wanted to progress in general, and it didn't go your way, trust me, I feel you, I get it, I've been there. But the biggest thing you want to do in these certain circumstances is continue to keep fucking going. So like I said earlier, this episode is strictly going to be about accountability and growth. So if you've been struggling with that, trust me, I've been there, and it's a horrible situation. One thing I will say before I actually get into the segment one is you got to have good family and friends. You literally have to have good family and friends, because those are the people you're going to trust. Those are the people that are going to give you the cold, hard fucking truth. Those are the people that are going to set you up for success and tell you what it is. Those are the people that on a bad day and you're feeling like shit, they're going to tell you to keep going. On a good day and you're feeling good, they're going to tell you to keep fucking going. You know why? Because those are your real friends. Those are your real family. And if you don't have that, first off, I'm sorry. But if you do, you know what I'm talking about. All right, in the first segment, I want to go over the excuse architecture. Now, for me, excuses never really feel like excuses. They are completely logical. They really feel justified, at least to myself. Whenever I do make an excuse, I'm like, okay, that is the reason why. But not looking from the outside in, you start to justify why it's actually true and why you're actually making that excuse. And excuses can be dangerous. Like it can be anything. Like I always talk about the gym on this podcast, but it can be going to certain networking events. It can be going to seeing your family and friends. I have a hard time going to see my family and friends. I'll be the first to admit it, because I'm so locked in on content. I'm so locked in on making and editing videos. I'm so locked in on doing what I want to do, doing stuff that makes me grow as a person, doing stuff that makes my platforms grow. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what I like doing. And I have a hard time trying to figure out time to go to my family and friends. But I will say this year I have gotten so much better than the previous or the year before, just because I've seen my mom twice already and we're not even halfway in, which is like a goal. And when I say I see my mom twice, I've been to her house and I stayed in the area for 2 times for a week each, which is pretty fucking dope. I spend a ton of time with her and we talk pretty much weekly. So there's that. I talk to my friends pretty much daily. We have a group chat. That shit goes crazy. I talk to a couple friends, and within that group chat, pretty much daily we text, we work out. So it's just trying to find that time to be very, very, trying to find the time to be exclusive to your family and friends is fucking key. And like I said before, they make you who you are. Now, one of the biggest excuses I see is I'll start when I'm ready. And I'll be the first to tell you, ready will never come if you're starting to feel like that. Just because ready to me is starting before you actually feel it. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. Before I started going to the gym, this was years ago. I always procrastinated on going to the gym. I was always a skinny fat kid. I was always just, I'll do something else to try to figure out why I can't go to the gym. And truthfully, I just never felt ready. I was uncomfortable with being in the gym, uncomfortable with working out, uncomfortable with just being in the fitness industry because I think the biggest thing, and now that I'm thinking about it, is lifting weights were not what it is now. I was doing a shoulder press with 20-pound dumbbells, which is kind of crazy to think about. Now I'll do shoulder press with like 80-pound dumbbells. So it's like starting off, yes, you start somewhere, but that's why I was uncomfortable. That's why I kept saying I'll start when I'm ready, but ready never came. So one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Shout out to my boy C, because he actually got me into the fitness. But shout out to my boy C. We signed up for the gym. I think he had Gold's Gym, and then I signed up, and then I mean the rest is fucking history. But I say that to say you have to start now. There's no fucking way around it. If you don't start right now with whatever you're trying to do, you're always going to be in a place of complacency, and that's a fucking terrible situation for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your business, for anything you got going on. So for section 2, I'm going to talk about the time audit. And I alluded to this earlier, talking about family and friends and not having the time to actually see them on a daily basis, weekly basis. Where is your time actually going? I say this to say, on average, a single person does about 4 to 7 hours per day on their actual phone. That's social media, that's texting, that's games, that's anything you can think about that you can actually do on your phone. 4 to 7 hours. That's fucking insane. And when you think about it, let's just say they're doing 7 hours, the maximum, right? That's a part-time fucking job every single day. That's a part-time job. That's fucking crazy. And when you really think about it, since it's technically a part-time job, you're not getting paid for that. You're literally making someone else rich by viewing an algorithm and paying their fucking bills. When in reality, you should be focusing on what you're actually doing on a daily basis, making content, doing things with your business, working out, family and friends. I mean, the list goes fucking on. Something that I like to personally do every single day when I'm at the gym is do a to-do list. Every single time I'm on the fucking treadmill before I'm about to work out, pull out my phone. I have a to-do app. I think it's by Microsoft. And I just make a to-do list of every single thing it can actually be. And my girlfriend actually makes fun of me a little bit because I write down single things. Like I'll write down like, go to HEB, make breakfast, find my toothbrush, record a podcast, like literally little things to the T, to where like, if I don't put it down on that specific app, I will forget because I'm always on the fucking move. And I think if you live like that, you're going to accomplish so many things. I'll give you a perfect example. Today, I'm running on maybe about 6 hours of sleep. I went to sleep yesterday, maybe about 11 o'clock, and I woke up to take my girlfriend to the airport. She's doing a trip in Dallas, and I woke up about 4:15, 4:20. And from there, I dropped her off, came home, and I felt good. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the fucking gym. Let me just take some pre-workout. Let me get a workout in. And from about 5:30, I'm lying, maybe about 6 to about 8, 8:30, I did a fucking workout. I did some cardio, and I did steam sauna. So that fucking started off great. From there, I already had my day planned because I do it at the gym, right? This is, I want to say, maybe 5 hours into making content, and I've got some TikToks going that I've recorded earlier. I got this going right now. I needed on my to-do app, I need to do a YouTube video for my cybersecurity channel, and I need to edit something else. I'm drawing a blank, but But I'm telling you this because I like to keep myself in fucking check. If I don't do that, I will get complacent and I will end up on the fucking couch in a fucking movie and I won't feel like getting up. I won't even eat sometimes because I just don't, I just get lazy. You just get lazy. I felt this earlier this morning. I want to say it was like 9 or 10. I went to go record some TikToks. And I told myself if I sit down, I'm going to fucking fall asleep because I was tired. I just eaten breakfast and you've been up since 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you're just like, it's downtime, at least to me, right? I ended up doing some TikToks and I'm feeling good so far. I might take a fucking nap after I eat here shortly, but who fucking knows? We'll see. So I want to give you, so since we're talking about time, I want to talk about what I used to do that took up a ton of time for myself. It's TV. I mentioned social media earlier, low value conversations. That's fucking hard. And honestly, just doing a deep dive into fucking shows, doing a deep dive into social media, doing a deep dive on movies, binge watching. McKinley, my girlfriend, would be the first to tell you, I have hardly watched Netflix, any video platform, Prime, Hulu, Disney. I don't even like watching it at night before I go to bed, just because I'm so used to not watching it because I'm making content, I'm editing, I'm doing things on a daily basis that have no sense for me to sit down on the couch and watch movies. If I do that, what my growth looks like would not look like what I have right now. So I'm pushing every single fucking day. It's a time like that, spending it like that, you're losing it to something that's fucking little to no value at all. Yes, if you watch YouTube, that might be like a discrepancy that you might get a ton of value from that, but on average, the shows, the movies, the social media, you're losing it. You're losing fucking time from all of that. So next, I want to give you an example with time. I want you to take 1 hour a day. Of course, that's 365 hours. And then I want you to divide that by 40 because that's a typical work week. From there, you got 9 full weeks of what you're actually trying to do, what you're actually trying to accomplish. Like I said, mentioned before, business, content, family, friends, pets, list goes on. If you put your time 1 hour every single fucking day towards something you're passionate about, I promise you, whatever goal you have in fucking mind is going to come to life. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've been in this trap before. I've been just trying to figure out some type of consistency, some type of growth within my actual personal life. And it's hard. It's really hard, but you have to have good fucking intentions. And when I say good intentions, I mean, I've talked about it before. Why you're actually doing it, what you're actually doing it for, what you're trying to gain. Is your mind in the right spot? Is your family and friends in the right spot? Is your fitness in the right spot? Is your eating, is your diet in the right spot? So I think that all has to come into play when you're just living your life in general. So have the right intentions whenever you're actually trying to grow in your personal life. Now, for this next section, I alluded to it a little bit earlier. We're going to talk about the comfort trap. Now, what this looks like, it's a slow, invisible slide into a life designed around avoiding discomfort. The comfort doesn't happen overnight. It's slow, it's quiet, it's 100 small decisions to choose the easier thing until one day you realize your whole life is built around avoiding anything hard. For me, comfort is not rest. And when I think of comfort, I honestly think about comfort food. And that has something to do with this. Because when you think about comfort food, you think about bad food, shit that tastes fucking good, shit that's horrible for your fucking body. But that's what comfort is. Comfort is avoidance. It's like dressed up as I guess self-care. I think the body and the brain really adapt to comfort to resist growth. And staying uncomfortable is the only path that's forward. And I know the saying, if you want growth, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And for me, I'm talking to you on a camera right now. That's sometimes uncomfortable for me. When I go on vacations, I hardly ever want to record because I wouldn't say scared, but I'm just like, are these people going to judge me? What are they even looking at? Like, it's just worrying about other people of me recording with a fucking camera. But I will say nowadays, if you see someone out with the actual camera, just like, oh, they're vlogging, oh, they're a social media content creator, or it's a little bit normalized now. But you do have like older folks that are just like, why the fuck are you recording? Or in the fucking gym. I mean, that's huge. I know some gyms are don't allow recording, but like bigger gyms and social media gyms, you can record in there. But being uncomfortable is tough. And I think that's why I started this podcast, because I literally remember I got this camera, actually, this camera that I'm recording on right now, in May, June of 2020. And I didn't release my first video up until August, September of 2020. So it took me about 2 to 3 months to actually upload a podcast. I didn't talk like this. I didn't look like this. My editing skills weren't like this. The quality wasn't like this. So I put myself in an uncomfortable situation to grow. And I knew that. I knew it was the hard way. The reason why I knew is because I didn't want to do it. The reason why I knew is because how uncomfortable it made me sweaty. I didn't look right. But as time went on, everything got fucking better. And I'm sitting here 6 years later to tell you that everything will get better if you just fucking start. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations and you will grow. If you want to be a social media content creator, if you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to go to a different job, if you want to get into another career field, if you want to just better yourself, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. So I want to talk about a little of comfortable situations that you might be going through or that most people will see. First and foremost, the comfortable paycheck. Now that's working at a dead-end job, working at a job that doesn't pay you what you're actually supposed to be paying, working at a job where you're just not feeling it. Like this is not what I'm meant for. And that's what I felt when I quit my job last year, my sales consulting job for a Honda dealership, to work in cybersecurity. I was scared. I was super uncomfortable and I didn't know what the future held. But I did know one thing. I did know I worked hard. I had a good head on my shoulders and I had a ton of delusion. And when I say delusion, I mean having the utmost faith that whatever you're trying to do, the plan you're trying to work at is going to come true. So if you're thinking about quitting your job, I'm not going to say quit your job because in my opinion, would I have quit my job? Probably not. I probably would have did working on my certifications, working towards cybersecurity while I did my job. That's probably the route that I would have done. I'm not telling you to do that. What I am telling you to do though is if you're feeling the itch to do something in a different career, at a different job, in a different city, just do it. Why not? I told myself this: if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to selling cars. If your job doesn't work out that you're trying to get, or if you don't get a job, or if it just doesn't work out, the previous experience that you do have, you can always go back to that. Or you can just fucking start serving at a restaurant, go into a basic fucking job, go into, anything at all that you can think of. You can always go back to it. But one thing you can't do is go for the one thing that you actually want. So for this next segment, it says I got to make a personal story, but I don't know if I fucking want to do that because all I do is talk about personal stories. But I will talk about some of the times that I actually felt comfortable in my life and I was just very, very complacent. And this was, I want to say right after I graduated college, I started working at a car dealership. That was my first year, 2019. And I got super, super complacent. I literally was just like going through the motion, trying to make money, trying to sell cars. And that was the first year I was just like, damn, this is what it feels like to make, I don't know, $40,000, $50,000 a year, working 50, 60 hours a week. I look back on it now and I'm just like, damn, that was probably a bad decision. I should have used my degree, but it is what it is at this point. I think another certain situation where I can say I got super comfortable is with my health. If you don't know, probably don't, but if you don't know, I have asthma. So I want to say before 2024, 2023, my asthma was very, very bad. It was uncontrolled. When I say uncontrolled, I mean, I didn't have a steroid inhaler. I didn't even have a rescue inhaler that was like prescribed. What I did have though is a like janky inhaler from Walmart that I bought from $30 every single month or every 2 weeks actually. And I would take that inhaler for like 3 times a day, 2 times a day leading up into 2024. And I just thought that was normal. I just thought, let me take my inhaler. Let me just get back on with my day. Let me do what I'm fucking doing. And it is what it is. Not knowing that That's not normal. You should not be taking your inhaler 3 times a fucking day, especially a fucking janky ass inhaler from Walmart. You should be taking a prescribed inhaler, rescue, or steroid to maintain your actual asthma. And for me, I wasn't doing that. And that was one of the times where I'm like, damn, I got really, really comfortable with what I was doing in my actual life. And that was not like me. And then January of 2024, had a whole hospital scare, got slapped in the face, got pneumonia, got the flu, and then it just went into a whole health transition to where now I only eat whole foods. Now I take care of my fucking asthma. It's very, very controlled. And something that I didn't really pay attention to was my workouts and my sleeping. My workouts with my uncontrolled asthma, they were I was having to use my inhaler pretty much like once a workout. So not only was I using it once for my workout, but I was using 2 to 3 times during my work. So it's like, damn, that was uncontrolled. And then my sleep, I didn't know this. I learned this the fucking hard way. With my sleep, I I would wake up with headaches, and when I went to the doctor and they told me this, apparently, not apparently, it's true, but your body, for me, when I woke up with headaches, one of the things they said is your body's not getting enough oxygen to the brain, so then when you wake up it's very, very foggy and you just feel fatigued. Makes sense, right? Now I look back, I'm like, damn, that's what I was actually going through. All in all, there's growth to that. Started taking my inhaler, my steroid inhaler. It's super controlled now. And then of course, I'm healthy now. All right, for this last segment, I want to talk about fixes you can actually do for a couple of things that we actually mentioned in this episode. So this first fix is probably going to be very, very tough, but it's do a real-time audit this week. So I talked about it earlier, where if you spend 1 hour a day towards something you're passionate about equals 365 hours for the year. But for this fix, I want you to audit your time. So do the regular shit you do on a daily basis. Social media, work out, family and friends. Just do it all, right? And track it. Track how much time you spend on social media, track how much time you with your family and friends. And I want you to put a specific section on it for whatever it is. So if it's social media, just put social media. At the end of the week, look at what you're actually doing on a weekly basis. And I promise you're gonna look at it and be like, what the fuck? It was that much hours on social media. Yeah, that much hours on social media. Where, like I said before, you spend 1 hour a day to whatever you're fucking passionate about. You're gonna achieve that fucking goal that you have. Now, I'm not saying to get rid of social media. Now, I'm not saying to spend less time somewhere. Not look, all I'm saying is delegate your time strictly for things you're trying to do, strictly for things that are gonna make you uncomfortable so you can grow, strictly for things that are gonna just grow your life in general. Because if you do just 30 minutes of low activity in that social media, that's shows, that's Netflix, that's just 30 minutes. But if you allocate just 30 minutes of your time, don't even do an hour like I mentioned before, just 30 minutes of your fucking time of doing that, something that's going to make you grow, something that you're comfortable with, something that's just going to make you a better person. I promise you, that's where it fucking starts. Another thing you can do is audit your circle. And when I say circle, I mean your family and friends. Be honest with yourself. Be honest about them. Be honest about your family and friends. Are they who they say they are? Do they have your back? Can you call them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, say, hey, I'm in some shit. Can you come fucking help me? And they actually deliver. Again, I'm not saying to cut these people off, but what I am saying is delegate your time wisely, because I found this out the hard way. You are who you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with some fucking bums, you're probably a fucking bum. If you surround yourself with positive thinkers, go-getters, hustlers, discipliners, I don't even know if that's a word, but if you surround yourself with that 9 times out of 10, you're that fucking person. For fix number 3, now this is probably going to be super hard for you, but it's choose one uncomfortable thing per week. Now for me, that one thing I try to do every single day is putting myself out on TikTok. TikTok is a fucking beast. And when I talk about TikTok, I mean, you can post a video and get millions of views in hours. And that, to me, that's insane. You're reaching an ungodly amount of people in a short amount of time. And that's super uncomfortable for me, because who likes to get judged? Who likes to have a ton of people looking at them? Who likes to get hate comments? Who likes to get any of that? But That's uncomfortable for me, and I do it every single fucking week because I'm growing my TikTok account. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that episode. Again, put yourself in uncomfortable situations. I want you to grow. I want you to have a ton of accountability. I want you to take some responsibility in your life, because if you delegate your time, if you spend the right time with your family and friends, if you pick the right people to hang out with, if you do the things that you put on your to-do list, you are going to accomplish them. Put your head forward, grind like you've never grinded before, and accomplish those fucking goals. If you're still here, I really, really appreciate you. Do me a huge favor. Go ahead and subscribe to this actual channel. It would help us out a lot. Again, I appreciate you one more time. Episode 130 in the books. Shout out to y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.